Cove stood in the road, looking down and scuffing his feet on the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked up at you and smiled. Hey. Hi. Miranda and Terri are gonna be here not too long. Terri even texted me earlier saying she was mostly on schedule.
Well,
why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. That sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them where you'd be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and it wasn't long until you reached the shore. Cove laid out his towel in the warm sand. You set up your stuff beside him and looked out at the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. You all had lucked out. It was a beautiful day, the sky was clear, and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, but with a pleasant breeze to keep things comfortable. Essentially, it was perfect. So, are you thinking about getting your feet wet? It would be fun to walk along the water, or would you want to stay totally dry? I'd be down, even though I'm not like a water person, but I do enjoy wading by the shoreline. I do enjoy the feeling of my feet in the sand, and wet sand is even better. Taking a stroll would be fun. I don't mind my feet being in the water. You plan to just get some sun. Either way is fine. What do you want to do? No, take a stroll would be fun. You wiggled your toes in response to the comment and looked off into the shoreline. Cove nodded, accepting of the plan. He kicked some sand off his towel absent-mindedly. Yeah, sounds nice. You took a deep breath and tasted the relaxing, salty air. Cove caught your eye and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Luckily, it didn't take long until you heard shouts. You turned your head to see both Miranda and Terri running straight for you. Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terri followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders and flowing like a cape. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric and more precarious as she got closer. Cove waved them on with a bright grin. You shouted greetings. You cheered at their antics. You waved too. You laughed. You shook your head. You hoped they wouldn't fall. I would laugh. They always found a way to make such a memorable entrance. Oh! The two officially arrived at Cove's, and you're set up, looking completely ready for an ocean adventure. I really like Miranda's bathing suit. It's so colorful. It's got that psychedelic thing. And I like Terri's hair. They're already in their swimwear and ready to go. Hey, Terri, Miranda, welcome to our beach.
Hey!
Hi! Hello, hello! She beamed and Miranda nodded with a smile.
Oh, yeah!
Man, I am so pumped. Yeah, I'm really glad this worked out. What have you guys been up to over in here in your town? Cove, Vaughn, have we missed things? Cove blinked and then shrugged when nothing he wanted to mention came to mind. You shrugged like Cove. You gave a vague answer. You gave a recap of how your family was doing. What have you been up to? No, I would have been able to give a recap. Your moms are the same as ever for the most part, although they were definitely still adjusting to you being an adult now. Liz had asked you to take pictures of her latest makeup look the other day. There was nothing too dramatic going on right now. Terri nodded along and mentioned a couple things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some of the wild things her older brother had done. Terri then started talking about her morning and how she'd almost overslept since she had stayed up too late last night. She bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school. Miranda filled in the group about her morning. Apparently everything had gone smoothly. She'd met up. I really love Miranda's purple eyes. They are gorgeous. She'd met up with Terri on the way here and you knew the rest. Cove offered a suggestion to the girls. Hey, let's walk while we catch up.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. You felt pleased that Cove remembered what you wanted to do. Sometimes he would be thoughtful like that. He's such a sweetie. Once everyone's stuff was settled on the beach, the group strolled over to the shoreline. The wet sand was cool under your feet. The waves rushed up and covered your ankles in water. You flinched from the suddenness of it, but by the next wave you were acclimated. You took another step forward and sank a little to the ground. Behind you, your footprints were soon smoothed by the waves. Your friends chatted as you all walked together. You took turns pointing out cool shells or pieces of sea glass. It was a relaxing jaunt. I'm glad that they're sort of catering this scene with like what I would actually do at the beach, which is not necessarily jump into the water, but like wade in the sand. Hours passed and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped at some water. Your friends were hard at work burying Terri's full body under a pile. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terry's sides. Cove worked on covering Terry's feet. You took another drink and closed your eyes. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notable even behind your eyelids. You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig around in the pile of assorted beach stuff in the middle of everyone's towel setup and pulled out the sunscreen. He took a seat next to you on his towel. He opened up the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. Hey. Hi. He ran his hands across his chest to work the sunscreen in. Yeah, this would definitely grab my attention. This would grab my attention a lot. And you might have checked him out a little from the corner of your eye. Oh, definitely would have checked him out, while still sipping some water. He noticed you noticing him, and Cove tilted his head your way as a smile formed. Would you want to help me reach my back? Yeah, I can do that for sure. Thanks. This is the best part. You scooted up behind your boyfriend and reached a hand around his front so he could squeeze a small pile of sunscreen into your hand. You rubbed your palms together, spreading the cream out more evenly, and then began applying it softly on his shoulder blades. From there, you moved to the tops of his shoulders, the nape of his neck, and down his spine. Cove was mumbling the entire time, but you couldn't make out what he said. He might not even realize he was doing it himself. The tone of his voice and the look of his face got the message across just fine, however. He was happy. You were too. After he and you finished up, Cove let out a comfortable sigh and looked off into the distance. But then he sighed again, this time in an exaggeratedly disappointed way. You wondered if he was going to sigh again, even more dramatically if you didn't say anything. What's wrong? You honestly wondered. You wondered what it was, you raised an eyebrow, you chuckled. Oh, Cove, whatever it is, I'm sure it's going to be okay, you joked. No, I'm going to say, what's wrong? You honestly wondered. You inspected his face to see if there was anything actually distressed about him, but he still just looked like he was exaggerating. You asked anyway, since it was obvious that was what he wanted. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. His frown didn't match the sparkle in his eyes.
Don't worry about it.
I'm just becoming another jaded adult, that's all. Now you were really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculously sad sigh you had ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. What? That had not been what you were expecting, he continued. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid? Well, merfolk as a whole. I really hoped that they were out there.
I mean,
the ocean's a big place, right? They could be somewhere. But the older I got, the more I had to accept it. They were just a fairy tale. He jerked his head over to the waterline and the rolling waves. They crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast and never too crowded. If merfolk did exist, we definitely would have met one by now. Or at least we would have heard of someone else seeing one. But nothing. How do you know you didn't meet one by now? They could be one of those mermaids that magically transform legs. Their fins transform legs when they hit the shoreline. You don't know that. He acted as though that result was a true bafflement. He let his head hang. I gotta let the dream go. You burst into laughter. That's hardly proof. It's not like this is the only beach in the world. You pretended to be shocked and disappointed. You shook your head. Wow, good for you for that revelation. I'll say that's hardly proof. It's not like this is the only beach in the world. They could still exist. As you said, the ocean is a big place. Cove chuckled a little to himself, eyes tilted off into the sea, his face still low. Maybe it's for the best. Let's say a merperson did happen to wash up on shore one day. He looked back at you with a faux, doleful expression. I could have lost my boyfriend to their magical underwater world. Oh yeah, I'd totally go live under the sea with a merfolk. Yeah, me who does not like the water. Yeah, totally. Unless the mermaid was a merman and looked like Eric from The Little Mermaid, then I might consider it. Even if I had the chance, I'd stay on the shore with you. I'd go with a merperson, but only if you could come with us too. No. Even if I had the chance, I'd stay on the shore with you, because me and water, no. No. Water is good for bathing, drinking, cooking. No, I shouldn't say that. I like water more than that, but it's not my go-to. Cove's eyes widened with amazement.
Really?
You'd pick me, a plain human, over a beautiful mythic merperson? We would live on land and not in the water. He smiled and continued, very clearly joking around at this point. Are you sure that's the right call? If he has to ask the question not jokingly or authentically, then he does not know me as well as he should. If a beautiful, kind mer person falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive that the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay on land with a normal guy. Yeah, someone like me totally would say that. 100%. Are you warning me that you'd leave if you get that kind of offer? Why are you so sure I'd have to make that call? Since this is all hypothetical, why not have you be the mer person? I don't want that. I should get to be a mer creature, and then I'd invite you to the underworld. Cove, there's no one who could ever make me leave you. Yeah, none of these answers are what I would have said. I would have said, I hate the water. Why would I go to a mer person? There's no one who could ever make me leave to you. I don't want. How does Cove not know that he's not a mer person? He's got that hair. He's got that natural kelp green hair. Like, he's got to be part mer person. I think that's proof. I think that's what the twist is. And his name is Cove. Come on. Are you warning me that you'd leave if you get that kind of offer? You don't want me to be blindsided when you don't want me to be blindsided when you ditch me for a mer creature if they're real. That isn't what I'm trying to say. I'm not the one who'd have to deal with that, you know. It isn't the same kind of thing. If a mer person did magically appear, there's no chance it'd be me they'd call for. Say what? The more Cove spoke, the more it sounded like he could be merfolk himself. He was choking on air, a fish out of water. I mean, you're the one who's charming and talented. Yeah, but you're the one that... I mean, he's, in my opinion, totally subjectively, especially when we're talking back when I was that age, when I was 18, about to go to college, Cove's definitely is subjectively better physically looking than I am. So if a mer person, before it even has a chance to talk to either of us, they would probably be like, you know, notice Cove way more than they would notice me. Sure, I can bring up the charm. I can pull up the charm once they actually start talking to me. But I mean, you got to get your foot in the door. And Cove definitely can get his foot in the door compared to me. Once that mer person might start talking to me, sure, maybe they might be able to like see something. But yeah, he barely eked the last words out. Last words out. There isn't anyone who couldn't choose you. Oh, yeah, sorry. In my experience, there's plenty of people who didn't choose me. Sorry, Cove. Plenty of people. Oh, you were completely flattered by how highly he thought of you. He is living in a fairy tale. Cove is living in a fairy tale if he thinks that there's no one who would, like, no, except me. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. You saw that Terri had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The walls Miranda been meticulously building collapsed into a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically. We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you just want to give up on this now? No way. The burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore. Okay, if you're sure, I'll try to fix this. Miranda started to rebury her, and Terri shot her a thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More in the sand on her crumbled, and Miranda put her head in her hands. Cove caught your eye and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed and followed him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. You all worked out a system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With 3 people, it didn't take long for Terri to be entombed. Terri grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Oh yeah! Resembling the Kool-Aid Man, she kicked herself out of the ground with a good gusto. Sand went flying in all directions, and a Terri-shaped imprint was left behind. Miranda yelled again, and Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. The 4 of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest, while you find the most colorful. Of course I would. Cove caught a tiny crab. Of course he did. You did a bit of everything. There were impromptu games to just soaking up each other's company. However, after a while, you all ran out of water, drinkable water anyway. It was decided that you'd head over to your or Cove's house. Things were gathered and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What next? I don't have anywhere to go, so it could be whatever. Same. I guess you can keep hanging out? Terri snorted and readjusted her grip on her things. Don't sound too sure there, Cove. By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued with everyone throwing out suggestions. Are people hungry? Yes. The answer, whenever you ask that question to me, is always yes. She looked from face to face in inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. No one was overtly opposed to it. Especially at that age when I had my metabolism. Yes, always hungry. However, you weren't really starving. Psh, this game does not know me. How do you know game? You weren't really starving. It wasn't quite mealtime. I don't care. That never stops me. I could get my second breakfast, second lunch, second dinner, and supper. We could get dessert. Miranda put a finger on her lip in thought. With a smile, her voice became more confident. Yeah, that would be fun. Terri considered it and then shot Miranda a thumbs up.
Sure.
Sounds great to me. I can definitely go for that. I think that's a good idea. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Except for Cove, when he comes visit. Your friends glanced at Cove and his place. He shook his head immediately. That doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert-flavored protein shakes. Ew, no. She cut in and held her arms up as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked.
Not bad.
It's not that bad.
Nope.
Nope.
Well,
Then there has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up. Terri nodded and started to dig around in her bag. I like the way you think. Terri continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. She raised it up in triumph for a brief moment of celebration.
I'm on it.
I'll search for something good. Terri got back to her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen and in the other. But she assessed Cove from top to bottom. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Cove glanced at his bare chest and feet, having not even registered it prior. He chuckled a little. I'll grab something. Oh, does he have to? I guess he does. Cove moved over to his house. He looked towards yours. You decided to change as well. You waited outside with the girls. Would I change? I'm already in my casual clothes. I'm already in casual clothes. Why would I change? You waited outside with the girls. You watched Cove disappear into his house. Terri was deep in the midst of scrolling through food options. You shuffled over to where you could see, and Miranda did the same. There's ice cream. People love ice cream, especially around here, and if you're like me, I end up making it for everybody else. I don't really feel like ice cream. I was about to say, I thought Miranda does not like ice cream, but that's not what she said. She said, I don't really feel like ice cream.
Uh-huh.
Cool, because I don't either. What is wrong with you people? How could you not be in the mood for ice cream? She flicked her finger up and another ice cream place showed up. Melty Moo Moo's frozen treats with an unfortunate cartoon mascot. I like ice cream, it's just not for today. There has to be something else. Smoothies, like regular smoothies. You thought on it and Terri kept scrolling. You heard a door open and Cove reappear. Oh, that's cute. You were about to be surprised at how quick he was, but then noticed he'd just thrown on a t-shirt over his swim trunks and slipped a pair of sandals on. Of course. Hey, I'm sure he still looks hot. Everyone else exchanged their respective greetings and then looked back at Terry's phone. Terri scrolled further and then made an interested exclamation. Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes! I love crepes! I did a video, I think, last year about my top 10 favorite foods, and crepes was definitely on there. Don't remember which number, but it was on there as my top 10. That's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are, and the best part is they have both sweet and savory. She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. It didn't show any pictures of the actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort into presentation with branded wrapping for the crepes and well-applied toppings.
Huh.
Weird. I've never heard of it. I haven't either. Again, that's totally would not be me, because I would have scoped out all the restaurants in this area so fast. Mysterious, but crepes are so good. She nodded her approval as Terri admired more of the photos. I'd go. It's not too far, but we could drive. Terri cheered at the success of a plan made, and you all walked around to Cove's car. He had to run inside once more to grab his keys. You wrote "Wash me" in the dirt of his car. You waited for Cove. I feel like, again, we have a very, playful relationship. You noticed a thin coat of sand and dust on Cove's car. It had probably been a while since he'd washed it. With a smirk, you carefully wrote "Wash me" with your finger.
Very nifty.
Good work. I wonder if he's even gonna notice. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand. His hair slipped onto his face and he brushed it back. Shotgun! She clambered into the passenger seat without hesitation. You didn't argue and climbed into the back with Miranda. Terry activated the directions on her phone map and acted as their navigator, directing Cove to the creps. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn into a non-existent road once and wanted him to do a U-turn instead of just using a left turn. But with Terry looking at the actual path, it went smooth enough. You were led to a small stall in a parking lot rather than a full building. That explained why there hadn't been pictures of the crepery's interior, and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that popped up recently. I still feel like I would have known about it. Especially if it's one of my top 10 favorite foods. If there was a crepe place popping up anywhere near me, I'm pretty sure I would know about it. Maybe. There was a window you could walk up to and one for cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh.
Come on.
I don't think I needed to put a shirt on for this, but I still want to try it. Let's go.
What?
Do you not trust us to eat in your car? I wouldn't. I don't particularly like... I would prefer people not eating in my car, personally. She gestured the drive-through option. Cove shook his head with a snort. I trust some people here, maybe, but wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? I think so. Everyone acknowledged his point and piled out. Terry tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. Yeah, I mean, it's not very... Eating inside a car is just not as enjoyable as eating at the actual place. Apparently they'd been a dessert explosion, topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be cake icing. That's sweet.
So great.
Literally, it was so good, but I regretted it so much I couldn't finish it, and I really tried. I'm surprised they didn't ask us like the flavor. Normally in these moments they ask us specific details about like what flavor you have of things. You can do it this time, Randy. Oh. Maybe we are. There were some laughs when you got up to the menu. You realized that there were more than just crepes. Okay. Well, it made it seem
so
like
great.
That's sweet.
So great.
Literally, it was so good, but I regretted so much I couldn't finish it and I really tried. What? Tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. The last time. Apparently, there'd been a dessert explosion topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda should be cake. See, that sounds interesting and all, but I don't like desserts that are too sweet. If it's too rich, if it's too heavy, if it's too like diabetes on a plate, I don't really like it because sugar, if the sugar is so sweet, if it's so rich that it just hides the rest of the flavor of the dessert, I don't want it. So that's the only thing. And I feel like I felt that way too even when I was at that age. Yeah.
So great.
It was so good, but I regretted it so much. I couldn't finish it and I really tried. You can do it this time, Randy. Okay. There were some laughs. When you got up to the menu, you realized that there were more than just crepes. There were definitely crepes, many crepes. However, the stall also had a lot of different drinks as well. Teas, smoothies, and milkshakes, which I also love, but not more than crepes.
Woo!
Jackpot! She grinned and held out her fist for a fist bump. Miranda high-fived it. The two stared at the awkward, vaguely turkey-shaped hand configuration they had made and then slowly put their hands down. Cove's mouth twitched in a smile. You stepped up to order first. You glanced back at the menu. You ordered a crepe. And a drink. Metabolism for the win. I ordered a crepe and a drink. Hello, I'd like to get a crepe and a drink, please. There was a woman who looked a little older than you taking the orders. She smiled back at you, ready to hear the specifics of your purchase. For the crepe itself, you wanted plain. Heck no. Do I ever get anything plain? Heck no. Strawberry, chocolate, green tea, lemon. Ooh, I love the exotic. Gotta go for the green tea. For the filling and toppings, you picked whipped cream, condensed milk, cream cheese, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, caramel syrup, powdered sugar, strawberries, mango slices, mixed berries, banana slices, and you didn't... Ooh, nice. Let's do cream cheese, mango slices, mixed berries, banana slices. This is gonna be awesome. Condensed milk. Since I already have condensed milk, I don't think it needs to be any. I don't think I need to put powdered sugar. I think that's just gonna be overkill. I typically don't like whipped cream. Whipped cream I liked more when I was a little kid, but as I got older, I'm like, whipped cream is meh, unless it's flavored. If it's flavored whipped cream, yeah. But if it's just plain, it's like, meh. Like, take it or leave it. I'm not a huge chocolate person, and since it's more like a fruit crepe, and yes, chocolate can definitely go well with fruit, especially like strawberries, but I'm just gonna keep it out. Caramel syrup, again, is overkill. I think I've got enough sugar on this thing, so that was all. And then still have a smoothie. So after you picked up the size, you were asked what you wanted to drink. You ordered an iced green tea, a black tea, a milk tea, an iced coffee, a strawberry smoothie, a banana smoothie, a mango smoothie, a coffee frag, vanilla milkshake, a chocolate milkshake. A mango smoothie sounds great, but smoothies are great, but I think I'm gonna get a milk tea because I already have like mangoes. I already have a lot of fruit in my crepe, and although I got tea in my crepe, it's green tea crepe, but it's not milk tea, so I'm gonna do milk tea. You also added a mix in or toppings for the drink. You chose to add whipped cream. Nah. Chocolate syrup, caramel syrup, boba pearls. Yeah, I was all about the boba pearls. Condensed milk, boba pearls, condensed milk, and because I already have the condensed milk, I don't need to make it any sweeter. No whipped cream, no chocolate syrup. That was all. You paid and stepped aside to let your friends order. Cove got a lemon crepe, that sounds really good, with powdered sugar on top and the mixed berries. He also got a plain strawberry smoothie. Terri went crazy with toppings. Although she ordered a plain crepe, she had it smothered with whipped cream, cream cheese, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, and bananas. That's about the same amount of stuff that I had in mine, to be fair. Miranda opted for a frap with caramel syrup and condensed milk. The four of you stood off to the side as you waited for your treats. I heard what you ordered, Vaughn. Glad I'm not the only one to go for a drink and a crepe. I couldn't pick just one, and why not? Exactly. Oh. He said, I heard what you ordered, Vaughn. I'm glad I'm not the only one to go for a drink and a crepe. I couldn't pick just one, and why not? Exactly. It's gonna be good. Vaughn, man, your crepe is gonna rock. High five for topping appreciation. Yeah, I love that Terri recognizes. I like how they're recognizing, like, what I ordered. She held her hand out expectantly. You gave her a high five. You left her hanging. You fist bumped her. No! I'm gonna give her a high five. I would not leave her hanging. You hit her hand with a satisfying smack. Order for Vaughn. Oh, I gotta get that. You grabbed your order. The others didn't take much time after that. With the goods collected, everyone admired their treats. Terri dug into hers, and Miranda gave hers a tentative sip. Terri nodded acceptingly with her mouth completely full. Miranda tilted the frap over to her with a grin. Terri sipped it and clearly loved it. She raised her crepe over to Miranda. You could tell that there was an intent to make it look nice, but with all of the assorted toppings piled on, only so much could be done. Yeah, that's the only thing. Presentation is probably not like fantastic when you're stuffing it with all those toppings. But you know what? Don't care. Miranda took a huge bite with gusto and sighed happily. Terri seemed satisfied and took another slurp of Miranda's drink. They had both only gotten one thing, probably because they knew they'd end up sharing. That's fine. Cove went over to you, and there was a definite interest in his eyes at your order. Whoa, yes, definitely a definite interest in his eyes for Vaughn, probably too. Well, I just want to say you can try mine. It's pretty good in summary. This is very different from when we were like at the mall, if you remember. He was really shy about people eating or trying his smoothie, or I don't remember what it was. But now he's like offering his and is interested in eating mine. So this is kind of cool. I'm wondering if his behavior here was affected by what happened at the mall. I'm curious. You tasted his and shared yours. You offered to share yours, but didn't want to try Cove's. You declined sharing entirely. No. That is not how I operate. Not how I operate. I tasted his and shared yours. I'm a foodie through and through. Totally going to be trying his and letting him try mine. He handed you his crepe first, and you tore off a piece and put it in your mouth. It was tart from the lemon, but the syrup berry mix brought in the sweetness. The balance between the thin, almost spongy crepe and the juicy toppings made for a unique set of textures.